another tutorial video. Today's one is in conjunction with the Festive Votive holder, which is one of Tonic's Create and Make die sets. It's number 4. So it's a beautiful small 6x6 little set that actually allows you to create a gorgeous votive that has a Christmas theme to it, hence the name Festive Votive. But if you are a fan of other Tonic die sets and you got hold of Tonic Showcase 43 a week or so ago, I can't remember exactly when it came out, this was the Eternal Love Lantern. If you got hold of this one, those decorative panels are the exact same size as the ones in the Eternal Love Lantern, so you can swap them around. So you can have your little votive to have the bride and groom on it, or you can make the lantern to have Christmas themed panels on it as well. So it's a really lovely, versatile, kind of like an extra add-on set, but it's also its standalone set to create the little votives as well. So the reason why I'm using this set is because I wanted to show you, I did, was it the Bells and Bauble kit? I did some cards to go with that using the smaller dies from the set to kind of create different elements for your cards, and I thought this set would be a really good one to show that for as well, because you've got this little Christmas tree tag, you've got the triangles for the 3-sided votive, you've got the square for the 4-sided votive, you've got this gorgeous layering bell here as well, lovely little sentiments, small little accent pieces and a little banner too, and I thought they were all nice pieces that you could take those small elements, pair some of them together, or use apertures of them and things, and create small like clusters for cards as well. So even if this is like the only festive set you get this year, I'm going to show you some ways of actually creating your Christmas cards from it as well. So the way I always do this kind of thing, I have hundreds of these notebooks with all of my ideas in for the different launches, but these were the 3 card ideas that I kind of jotted down for this, using the triangles in a different fashion with a couple of the bells on there and a few stars, having the banner with some bells coming off of it, and also using the aperture of the little Christmas tree tag to create an element as well. So I have cut out a bunch of different bits and pieces yesterday. So I'm restarting this bit because Pumpkin was being too noisy when I just tried to film it just now. So I've got all of my bits and pieces that I die cut yesterday ready to kind of sort of prepare myself for these cards that I've sort of, you know, the plans that I've jotted down. I kind of cut a few bits and pieces, and this is kind of the way that I work when I make my cards. I usually have an idea, die cut all the pieces that I think I'll need for that idea, and then try to put it together from that, and if I need to cut a few extra things then I do that as well. So the first card that I drew an idea for was this ripped piece with the 5 trees in, and I couldn't quite fit the 5 trees across, they kind of cut off at the edges, so I sort of went with that, and we've got a torn at the top but straight at the bottom for a different kind of look as well, and it kind of gives the look of like hills in the background as well. Obviously it's a stylised kind of look, but that's the first part for this card. And then I also thought maybe we'll put the sentiment on a little banner at the bottom, and I was thinking the Oh Christmas Tree embossed sentiment for this one as well. And I've cut it out of Inca Gold, but I might need to change that or cut some other things out of Inca Gold to kind of match that in. Or I saved all of my scraps from when I was die cutting, and I could put some Inca Gold behind some of the trees. I've also got some gorgeous green mirror card that's left over from some of the other pieces I was cutting that could go behind the trees, and also some olivey green card as well, which I didn't actually use for any of the other bits and pieces, but I thought it might work nicely behind this brighter green as well. I think it's called Pine Tree Green, that green? I'm not sure. But yeah, it's another different green that might work behind there. So we'll come back to that one because I think that one's going to take the most work out of all of them. Then the next one, let's go with this one. So for this idea I wanted to use some of the triangles, so I actually cut a couple of triangles inside each other. So you get 2 triangles in the set. One, the largest one is for the base of the votive, and then you have the smaller one to decorate if you want to. So I've cut them 2 together. Which way was I going to do the first one? That way. And I'm thinking of recessing the like textured Craft Perfect one back into the centre of the mirror card one. And then I've also got another mirror card large one cut, and I thought about maybe putting the smaller textured one on it but offset to make it look a little bit different as well. And then I was also thinking of bringing in a couple of bells, and for this time I cut a bunch of bells, solid and detail, from gold glitter card, and also from an amber yellow kind of colour as well. And I think for this one, I think the yellow in the background and the gold details will look quite nice. So I'm thinking of having the bells maybe there and there. Then on my diagram, I also drew 3 little doodled stars in as well. So we've got the little star die that's part of the little strip die that has little baubles and things in that you can decorate the side panels of the box with. And another one here, perhaps over there. And then I'm also thinking a sentiment on this one as well. So there's 4 different sentiments. There's Oh Christmas Tree, Peace, Love and Joy, which I think will go nicely on this one. And then there's also Joyful Season and Merry and Bright as well as different sentiments too. So I think I'm going to go Peace, Love and Joy on this one. And then for this we'll also have some twine running up to the top of the card. And I think that this one will be pretty good as it is. Maybe just playing around with the placement of some of those pieces a little bit more and bringing the twine in. But I think that one is quite good as it is. And then for the final card, I've got this piece of foiled craft card, which in the bit that I've deleted because Pumpkin kept barking through it, I was saying how it kind of looked a little bit too straight down the edges, so I just tore the fine little edges off of it to give a couple of chevrons down there, and she's still barking. It's the plastic bag outside that she's barking at. She can see it moving in the wind and she thinks it's alive. So I've got that. I'm thinking putting that down the side. And then I was possibly thinking of using one of the banners. I'm not sure whether a gold one or a white one would look best. And then maybe using the Merry and Bright sentiment on this one, and perhaps going with the opposite. So for this one, actually, do I want to do that way around? Yeah, I think I do. So for this one I did gold detail on top of the yellow, and then I was thinking for this one of doing gold bells, and I might use 3 instead of 2 that I put on my original drawing. Maybe doing the gold with the yellow on top, just to make it look a little bit different from the other card. I'm not sure which one looks better with which way around. I might change it, I don't know. I feel like maybe that one needs a bit more of the glitter, so perhaps we'll do the yellow detail on glitter card on this one. And then we'll do the glitter card detail onto yellow on this card, just to make them look different and show you, you know, you can layer them up differently depending on what kind of look you're going for your card. And again, we can extend some twine on these going up to the top of the card as well. And I always feel like they look nice hanging on different levels as well. And it also looks nice when you've got 3, if a couple of them kind of overlap a little bit too and have them on different levels. Then we might want a star in here perhaps. I did draw a star on my my doodle. I don't know if we're gonna need the star. I don't know if we need the banner. I don't know, does it look better without the banner on there? We might change our mind once we've put the twine on there too. But this is kind of how I go about putting these sorts of cards together. I just sort of place things down, play around with them, think, oh, I want something else die cut here, maybe the background looks too plain, I want to do something else to the background. So there's lots of different ways that you can kind of play around with the different bits and pieces from this die set, and you can keep bringing whichever, I mean, it doesn't, obviously if you're just at home making cards like this, you can be mixing and matching multiple different die sets. It doesn't have to be just using this one. But you know, you can kind of think, oh, do I want something else in the background? Maybe, I don't know, I feel like you could get away with like cutting that and doing it white on, oh, we can't even see that, doing it white on white and just having a little bit of the candle showing behind that. I don't know if that would look weird. Or in this one maybe you could get away with doing something like that as well, just to give a little bit of difference in the background. I think I'm mostly going to go with my original ideas, but the only thing I might change is I don't know if I want to bring some more Inca gold in somewhere else, or if I want to change the sentiment so that it's cut from a different colour rather than Inca gold, because that's the only Inca gold things on both of these two cards. So I might play around with that. But we want to get some twine first. So if you wanted a narrower coloured twine, you can actually take the Tonic baker's twine and untwist it, and then take, that's been cut a little bit, but you can take as many of these strands as you want to be your twine. But I also have this roll, I don't know where I got it from, of this nice sort of thin natural looking twine, which I think looks quite nice. Or you go with metallic thread if you've got metallic thread. I think that would look lovely as well. So I might speed some of this up whilst I'm sticking like the bell on top of the bell and stuff, and then I'll come back and talk you through any little bits and pieces as well. Okay, so now I've got to this point, I'm going to take some of the twine. It doesn't have to be too long of a piece, and I just want to thread it through the top of the bell and then tie it in a double knot, I think, just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then we can cut off the extra little tail there, and then you can kind of see where you want to put it on your card. I think I will add them with some 3D foam as well, just to raise them up. Just tie double knot on the top there, and then trim off that excess, and then we have the second one to go on there. And my original plan was to put one at that intersect there and then have one more down here, I think. So maybe going like that. So if we want to put some 3D foam behind this, I'm going to use a deeper 3D foam, like a higher one, 2mm rather than 1mm, and I'm just going to cut a smallish square and put it on that bottom portion, because I think the rest is going to overlap over the triangles. That might be too high up. There we go, about there. And then here we'll put in this bottom corner and have it about there. Then we can move all of those other pieces that we haven't stuck down yet, like the stars and our sentiment, and add a piece of double-sided tape across the top here. And then all you've got to do is pull these to be parallel with the side of your card if you want them to be straight. If you wanted them to be wonky, then you can do that as well. But kind of do them as parallel as you can. Press them into place on the tape, and then just to make sure they're nicely secure, just stick another bit over the top. And then they should stay in position really nicely. And there we've got our two bells dangling on that card. And then I was just playing around, and I think maybe the Peace, Love and Joy might look better being there. I don't know if to tuck it under the string, perhaps, like that. And then possibly move the stars into different positions to kind of balance it out nicely and have them overlapping in some areas. I think that looks quite nice. So for the stars, I will just do some wet glue to stick them on, just pretending as if they're like sequins or confetti or something. And then for the sentiment, I will go with 3D foam because it is a mirror card. The glue might affect it a little bit, might make it go a bit warped and bubbly. That tends to be what happens if you use something wet on a mirror card. Whatever the finish is on the top of the mirror card, it doesn't really like getting wet, and it tends to go a little bit lumpy and bumpy. So if you've ever had that happen before, it could just be because you've used too much glue, and you might want to try using tape, so like a dry adhesive rather than a wet adhesive. So got a little bit of foam tape on the back of our sentiment, which is the peace, love and joy, and then put that just there. So that's the first one finished. So you can see really lovely simple card, and I do like that addition of the Inca gold, even though there's no Inca gold anywhere else. We might want to revisit this when I finish the other ones, maybe come back and add a couple more stars. There isn't a smaller star though. I feel like a smaller star would look nice, but there is like a round die in there with a hole missing out of it that's supposed to go on top of the bauble, so maybe we shall see what that would look like. So we've got that one basically finished now, and then we can move on to this one, and I'll just speed up while I tie the string on because you've just seen me do that for the other card. Okay, so I've got those three tied onto their string now, and I was just thinking I've got one extra triangle left. I don't know whether maybe it would look nice, maybe if I brought that over, overlapped it a bit with that, and then maybe had the bells coming down here. I don't know if it needs a little bit of green, this card, because the rest is just that sentiment. Maybe the banner cut from green would look nice, or sometimes it's difficult to make decisions. I'm not usually filming this process, so it doesn't feel like it usually takes that long to make a decision. I do like the green, but I don't think the triangle works. We do have a square, but I don't know whether the square would work. Let me get the square die and we can see if we think the square would look good. Might be too big. Could change the layout of the card and maybe do that and make that a green square. We do only have one square for the squares, whereas we have two of the triangles, but maybe we could do the triangle on the square. Maybe that would look nice. If I get another piece of the bright, I don't know if it's called bright green or pine green, this really bright green Craft Perfect, I'll cut a square out of that and then come back. I think that looks quite good doing that, although I want to bring in that torn edge again, so I'm just going to tear one side of the square. So then we're going to have our square element that's going to overlap there, and then we can bring in our triangle as well. So if we stick the square flat, I think, and then we can add the triangle raised up with a low profile foam tape. Then we can add our three bells on top of this. So I think one further up and then maybe one sort of more overlapping that torn edge a little bit as well. Maybe the white banner, and then, oh, not the Oh Christmas Tree one, that's the wrong sentiment, the Merry and Bright one. Yeah, I think that'll look quite nice like that. I might add in some faux stitching to bring in a little bit more white, maybe down the craft card or on the square maybe. Or let's see what it looks like with the gold one, because maybe it'll bring that CRaFTi colour across if I did it with the gold one. But then I feel like maybe the sentiment needs to be in white card then. No, I think I still like it in the Inca gold. But I like it with the gold banner actually, because it brings in that CRaFTi colour across, I think. I think I like it like that. What about up there? Does that look better up there? No, I think I want to cover this harsh edge. I'm going to cut the sentiment out of white and see if I like that better. Okay, I don't think I like the white either, so I just tried cutting, if I bring the white banner back in, I tried cutting one just from gold mirror card rather than the iridescent Inca gold, so it kind of goes with the gold on the craft card. Maybe it just doesn't need the banner, maybe it's the banner that's throwing it off a little bit. I think I'm going to add the white pen details and then see what I think. Maybe that looks better. Then do I just bring in that sentiment like that without the banner maybe? This video's not turning out as quick and easy to film as I thought it was going to be. Will I keep changing my mind? I just tried it up there, I quite like it there actually. Okay, we're going to go for there before I sit here and spend like 3 hours trying to figure out where to put the sentiment. So it doesn't usually take me this long, to be honest, to figure out a layout. I think it's just because I'm filming it, but it is quite nice just to spend a little while, you know, playing around with things. And some of you may have thought, oh, actually I preferred it 3 positions ago when you know, showed it there. So you can obviously stop at that point to you know, finish off your card. So let's just add a little bit of the low profile foam tape on this. Okay, and then I think just putting it there like that is going to look good. I feel like maybe it does need a tiny bit more green, but I'm not 100% sure what green to kind of put in there. Like, do you tuck a Christmas tree upside down? No, that's a bit too random. Okay, again, we'll come back to this one as well, see if we think it needs anything else after we finish the final one. So, the final card is going to be the one with the torn piece and then the multiple Christmas trees on there, and I'm going to put a different colour behind each of the apertures as well. So first of all, I'm going to line that up with the edge there, turn that over and trim that because it's not quite the exact same length as my panel. And that almost makes the trees a little bit more even actually as well, which is nice. So we've got that piece there, and then I want to add these with dimension. So I'm going to cover the back of this with some low profile foam tape. Okay, so I've got foam tape on the back. Then I think I'm going to go maybe mirror, Inca gold, this green, mirror and then Inca gold again. So if we go with this one first. this one really simple. I've got the trees behind there, bit of Inca gold, bit of green mirror card, and then that olivey green colour. And I think what I want to do is just have that there, focus on one tree, just pick one of them out. I think off centre looks nice. Use a star to go on the top of that tree. And then just add the little Oh Christmas tree just underneath that tree. It makes a nice little feature just of that one little tree as something really simple for the card. So I've added all of our 3 panels onto card blanks, and I was thinking instead of trying to add something else to any of them using any more die cuts, I thought what about our confettis? So I've got the iridescent ice stars, which I think might be the ones that I go with, but I was also thinking the starlit snowflakes, which have a mixture of silver ones and clear iridescent ones in here as well. I thought they could be a nice option, having like silver, well maybe not the silver, but using the clear snowflake ones. I don't know whether, and I'm not sure which one is going to look better. They kind of get a little bit lost. Hey, pumpkin, stop. Whereas I think these ones are going to stand out nicely because they're white with the iridescence on rather than being clear with iridescence. I think maybe they're going to give more of an impact for the sort of background of our card that we want to kind of add a little bit more interest into. So, whoa, that was too many. I'm going to use a few of those. So there are our 3 finished cards using the small dies from the Festive Votive holder Create and Make number 4, just to show you a few ways of how you can utilise your smaller dies to create larger elements on your cards as well. I really like how this one turned out, and you've got the snow sort of falling in the sky, and then it says Oh Christmas Tree, and you've got different scraps of card behind the Christmas trees as well. This one is my least favourite, I think, but you've got that foiled craft card border down there, which I've added a little bit of white pen detail. I've used part of the square and then torn it. I've used part of the triangle base of the votive as well. I've also used the banner and 3 of the bells too, to kind of create a little cluster embellishment on this one. And then the final card is this one, which I think this one was going to be my favourite, but I don't know whether it quite came out as I wanted it to. I actually feel like this one's my favourite, but I do like the sort of cluster element of adding 2 of the triangles up the different ways and bringing the bells over the top, and then you've got like the little banner in there as well. I do quite like that. So 3 sort of different ways of how to use a few of the smaller dies from the Festive Votive holder. So really hope you enjoyed this tutorial video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.